Hi guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Daniel. I previously used to work at Samsung as a DevOps engineer, and I've interviewed with several notable companies for infrastructure roles like Lyft, Workday, Wayfair, AWS, and many more. So I wanted to share with you the most common Leetcode patterns and questions I've received in my interviews in SRE and DevOps roles. This will help you prepare for your own interviews or if you're interested in even getting into the field. So the number one most common pattern I've seen is string and array questions. So I actually saw this specific question twice in two different platform engineer interviews called most common word. It's a really good question. It's an easy level question, but it covers, working with strings. It covers with using a frequency map to count, words in the string. If you convert this string into an array, you're also working with arrays. So it is a really good question for you to practice. And yeah, you might even get it in an interview. Another good question to practice working with array strings and maps is group anagrams. It's a little bit more advanced. As you see, it's medium tier. I've never got this specific question in an interview, but it is a good question to learn how to work with advanced maps and dictionary of dictionaries. So group anagrams is a great question just to learn advanced maps. Another common pattern I've seen in my interviews is priority queues. So a good question to practice for priority queues is top K frequent elements. And the interesting thing about this question is you can solve it with using a frequency map and counting how many times a number of prayers. But this isn't the most optimal solution. The most optimal solution is using a priority queue. Any top K questions are typically a hint to use a priority queue. So if you can solve it in both ways, you're definitely going to impress your interviewer that you know queues and you know how to work with counts and arrays. So for this type of question, know your Python functions if you're using Python. A third point for DevOps interviews, sometimes the interviewer just wants you to see if you know how to open files, iterate through lines in a file after you open it. So it's important you do DevOps specific questions as well. From my experience, I've only ever been asked array strings and priority queue questions. And mind you, I've interviewed with like dozens of big tech companies at this point. So to be honest, if you ever were to give me a graph, a dynamic programming question, or a tree question that's more advanced, I'm going to bomb it. But in my 5 years of interviewing, I've yet to been asked these patterns. So yeah, stick with arrays, strings, a sliding window, even anything that's mainly a linear structure.